during an off-camera briefing on July 12, 2017, these words. Listen.
I think if there's been any evidence of collusion in 2016 that's come out at all or been discussed that's actually happened, it would be between the DNC and the Ukrainian government. I don't often quote the New York Times, but even one of their reporters tweeted earlier today that why this example provides evidence of collusion, quote, cooperation was between DNC officials and officials from the Ukrainian government, not just some associate. Ukrainian actions to coordinate with the DNC was actually successful, unlike anything shown by Don Jr.'s emails. Information passed to the DNC from the Ukrainian government directly targeted members of the Trump campaign in an attempt to undermine it. And that was just Ukraine.
Okay. So the incoming White House press secretary alleges that the DNC was colluding with the government of Ukraine. Whew. Not only that, but together they specifically targeted people within the Trump campaign during an election. While this sounds like a scandal that everyone should be worried about or looking at, no, this is about Joe Biden and Trump's phone call. Now, if the media had any shred of credibility at all, you would expect this comment to kick off at least one follow-up question. I mean, I'd be knocking people over to get to the microphone and say, excuse me, what's this all about? I mean, it would be the first question, right? Following a bombshell comment like that, I got to prove it or disprove it. Tax increases on upper income investment earners. How much do the CEOs of healthcare industry, how much do they make? Because that was the follow-up question. Yeah, they didn't even recognize it. Well, the first person didn't. But the second person, it was about Flynn and Kushner and Sessions and Don Jr.'s Russia contacts. So they seem to miss that. I don't know, selective hearing, perhaps. I have that with my wife sometimes, I have to admit it. Maybe they thought Sarah Huckabee Sanders was their wife. Who knows? The media was hand-delivered an insane story, gift-wrapped in a nice little Tiffany's box. Boom, out. All they could think about was ask about tax increases and then back to Russia. And the media wonders why Trump is losing his mind every time they ask him a question. Okay, so who was doing all of this? Well, there are two people that went to jail. Yeah, I'm sorry. There were two people that were convicted. They haven't gone to jail yet because their case was overturned by a technicality, and the prosecutors are retrying it as we speak. Now, who were the people that the Ukrainians decided to take to court for interference in a U.S. election? Wow, that seems like a name we should all know, right? You'll never guess. It was this guy. You remember the Black Ledger on Manafort? It's this guy. Oh my gosh, this guy's the head of this thing. He's going to jail? How ironic, the Anti-Corruption Bureau, the head of that is corrupt. Who would have seen that one coming? Oh, and who's the other guy? Yeah, this guy. They go to court and they are convicted, found guilty of interfering in our elections. Media doesn't cover that here. Who would be interested in something like that? So the verdict is guilty, but the evidence was interesting. First of all, in April, former Prosecutor General Lysenko, the good guy, remember, that came in after the bad guy was taken out? He decides to give an interview with Ukrainian media. And in that interview, he makes a stunning comment. Quote, I don't know how, but the Americans got an audio recording of Mr., how do you say his name? Sitnik, of his conversation. Now, that's the guy who ran the Anti-Corruption Bureau. He was resting with his family and friends now and discussing how he'd like to help Hillary. So the guy who was in charge of the anti-corruption, they caught him on tape talking about how he'd like to. Well, let me play it for you. Now, this is the first time, strange because it's been out in the newspapers in Ukraine. This is the first time that we know of that this has been translated by anyone in the media in English. I just want you to listen. Now, the speaker you're going to hear is Director Sitnik, and this is what he said. Listen.
Я думаю, що так. Я ж йому теж не йому, а Хіларі допомагав.
Тоді ви там трохи шатнули, да.
Я це так пишуть там.
Ну, мені кажуть, що Хіларі погано було, не дуже.
Wow, Clinton Foundation.
Ну, я наскільки пам'ятаю, ви говорили, що для нас навіть не було ближче Хіларі.
Ні, Трамп же ж ні. Він чисто в нього внутрішні питання домінують над зовнішніми. А Хіларі це якби це із тих політиків, що вони гегемонія Америки в світі. Для нас це так лучше. А для американців лучше так, це те, що Трамп робить.
У нас зараз ці американські стосовці, це баба, мужик.
Ми ж оприлюднили дані про Манафорта, якого посадили. Манафорт ж був керівник цього виборчого штабу Трампа. Ну, його ж тоді це сторонили, зараз, в тому числі за те, що проходили початну бухгалтерію, посадили там, тому що 80 років це збавлювали. І при Трампа барабан, тому що у них система працює чітко. І коли були вибори, за неділю до виборів, FBI поновили розслідування відносно Хіларі. У неї рейтинг упав на 7%, і Трамп натяжкою переміг. Я так не можу зрозуміти, що Трамп воює з FBI, і коли його доганяють. Якби не FBI, то він би не був президентом. Вони Хіларі погасили рейтинг на 7%.
Wow, that seems pretty kind of wow.